So I created an insane lawyer website for GoHighLevel, so let me show you how I did this and what it looks like. GoHighLevel is getting more and more popular for web designers, but still the GoHighLevel templates look terrible, outdated, boring and fake. Especially if you are selling to high net worth people and businesses, you can't show them a boring and unprofessional website. So I built an insane lawyer website for GoHighLevel users, and let me show you exactly how I did it. So this is what the hero of my website looks like. It first points out what they are doing, so it's Premier New York Legal Defense, with a catching headline, a sub-headline, and 2 buttons. The first one is a free case evaluation, and the second one is view our results. And on top we also have like a call button. And I added some animations to the buttons so you can see on how they change color. Also the one on top, and I really quickly show you in the editor what I did and how I did it. So here in the editor you can see I used normal buttons. So this one is a normal button, this one as well, and this one as well. And if we come down in style, you can see I used a button hover effect in this custom CSS, and it basically defines what the outcome is, like what is the base color of the button and how should it look when you hover. And for example, for this one I wanted to make it like subtle so it not really jumps and you still have like the clear call to action, but still you can click on view our results. And so this one only adds like a slight fade in the background of white, like I think it's 10 or 20%, and we still keep the border. And for this one it's the same like this one, but like it changes to the accent color. For the header, it's a standard header. You can see it has a navigation menu in it, and I have a second column in it to display the button, so I'm able to hide the button when it's on mobile. And I tried to like overlay it over this section first, but it wasn't really looking professional, so I decided to go with the overlay from this image. So this image is basically in the background is a background image, and I also set the color over here, and then you can go to heavy fade and it adds a fade on top of it. And then I took that color and made it the background color for the header. So the next section is areas of practice. It's a simple section to display the different services the company is offering, and I added a slight effect to them to like highlight when someone is hovering. So it adds the top border with a slight corner radius at the end, and it also adds a drop shadow behind it, just so it looks a little bit more interactive when someone opens the website. So let me show you how it looks in the back end. So in the website editor you can see it's like a simple column, and I added the style in the custom class. So the auto show is the custom class for the fade animation, so you can see like how they are fading in. Then the delay is basically, you can see they are not coming up in the same time. So this one is the first one, this one has a slight delay, and then this one also has a slight delay. And the hover border top is basically the effect. I also created the effects for the left side, the right side, and the bottom side, depending on like how it should look. For this design I decided to add the hover effect for the border to the top. And the rest is basically, this one is just an image with an icon. We have like a small headline, a text, and a button, and I removed all the colors and just added a simple button. So then the next section is basically an about us section. So I added a slight hover effect, as you can see when you go over the image, to this image, but it stays within those corners. So I defined that it's not going out, like it's increasing, but it's not increasing that it's like getting bigger from the corner radius. I also added like a small background effect if you hover over those icons over here. So so it just looks a little bit more interactive. It's basically like a social proof or like academics of the person, and it highlights it a little bit more. And as I said, like the image is scaling up a little bit, and I show you how I did this section because I really like the design of it. Like it looks like it's like one card. So I go into the backside and show you how I did that. So in the editor, if we now come to this section, it's like basically it's two columns, left and right, and this one is one column, as you can see when I select it over here. And then we have the subheadline and the headline, and I added a background to this entire column. So if we come here, you can see that I added a background, and for the image I removed all the padding. So from the left to the top to the right, and only to the bottom I added a little bit, so I have some spacing to the name over here. And so it looks like it's one card, which is really nice. For the hover effect, I added a custom class to the column and not the image. So it's a zoom container was added to the column, and the image within that container increases. And it was a bit tricky to create that because I added the effect at the beginning to the image when I was coding the effect. And the problem was that the effect was increasing the image, but it was going out of the border. So it felt like the entire image was increasing, which wasn't the effect I wanted to create. So I had to add the effect to the column and apply like target the image within that container. So now it's increasing, but it's not growing outside of the container. And also the auto show again, so basically that they are fading in light X. And for this one it's the same. I also have the auto show and the delay, so this one comes in delayed by 0.2 seconds. Then we have the image feature. They are like in separate columns within like two columns in here, and within that I added an image feature, and for the column I also added the overlay hover. And yeah, so basically it hovers when you go over it, and it adds like, it breaks the entire section a little bit up, so it's not like straight text from top to bottom, but like it also goes from left to right, which gives the entire website like a really premium feel. So when we now come to the next section, it's proven results. And here I also added an hover effect like in the last section. You can see it's like nothing crazy, but like it gives the entire website a little bit more interaction, and it feels more professional and really thought out. And especially if you're selling those websites, like clients really love those small effects because it's not like a boring plain website, but it actually behaves when you're interacting with it. So here in the back end, I'll show you how I did this. So this is basically again like a simple headline, a divider. For this small divider, I added a border to the column row. So if you go in here, you see I have a top border, solid, and added like a heavy fade, so it's like really subtle. If you look at the background, you see it's like it's a dotted background to give like more dimension. And this is basically just an image. So I added an image, set it on repeat, and also added a heavy fade, so the dots are not really visible, which I also did with that. So I added the blue background color, added the image, set it on repeat and heavy fade. And I really quickly want to show you how I did this, because if you know how to use Figma, and Figma is not really difficult, you can add those effects really easily, and it really gives your website like a more premium feel. So in Figma, I searched in the community for dotted canvas, and you can see like here are a lot of different examples of that which you can use. And for example, I think I used this one, and it has a size of 480 to 480 pixels, and if you download it as a PNG, it has a transparent background. And the good thing is the image is really small, so it's only 480 pixels to 480 pixels and a PNG with transparent background. So if you import it, the image is really small and it wouldn't fit the entire section, so you have to set it on repeat. So if you are using patterns in any way that are repeating, this option makes the most sense because it repeats themselves and you can't really see like a break in the background design. Now let's get to the numbers counters. That's a section that is within GoHighLevel. So if we add number, you can see it's number counter. And in here, I just defined the caption, the value, and the prefix. So for this one, for example, it's 50 million plus. This one is 500 plus cases, 25 plus years, and this one is 5 stars. So you can work with the prefix and the suffix just to make it like look more customized. And I also added the overlay hover too. And basically it's the same effect like above, but I duplicated the effect and made the overlay really subtle so it's not that harsh on the number counter, because like you don't want it to be really aggressive. And it's the same thing I used with the buttons. So you need, for every effect you need a new custom class, and for that you can simply copy the CSS, give it a new custom class name. I number mine like here, you can see overlay hover 2, and the first one was just overlay hover. And with that you can set up new effects. So you are using the overlay hover and you just adjust like the color, the opacity, to make it fit for like different sections. Then next we have the client testimonials, which is also like a really nice section I built. I'm really proud of that. And as you can see, when I hover over it, it adds a slow drop shadow, and we also have like the icon in the back. And I really quickly want to show you how I did this. But in general, I really like the section. Like, it really gives it a professional and well thought out feel. So back in the editor, this one, basically the background is also an image, which I want to show you in Figma as well. So I wanted to add like this quote symbol to the testimonials, just so it looks a little bit more professional. Like, if you just add the testimonial with the stars, it doesn't really look good in my opinion. So I went to Figma again and just created a frame with like approximately the size of the card that I'm using on GoHighLevel. And then I used icon plugin to like use to get this quote symbol, and then I added like a really slow gray gradient just so it's like it's visible but it doesn't jump to your face. And so then I just added this to the background, so you can see like it's just a file, it's fill 100% width, and it's a light fade, so it's like really subtle in the background. Then if you check this, it's like an image, and when we go back to Figma, so you can see it's one image, and I just copied it 5 times and grouped it together, and then you can click on it, go down and export group as PNG, and then you basically have a transparent background star icon. You can come in here and import it as an image, resize it, make it small, orient it to the left, and you get this card effect. And if we go to the column settings on style, you can see I have the hover shadow. So it's basically the same like above, just I use the hover for the like the drop shadow behind, but I didn't add the top radius. So it's basically the same effect, just it's a smaller one. So it also gives like a little bit more interaction with the website. And we also have the auto show and the delay. So this one comes in first, then this one is delayed by 0.2 seconds, and this one by 0.4. So then we have the last section, which is the contact us section. It's a really simple one. I created a new form. I removed the complete background so it's completely white, so I can define it in the website builder. And then I added like the office hours, email, phone, and address to the left. And I'll show you how I did that as well, because sometimes I find it difficult to add like effects like this, so it's like nice and organized. So if you come down, you can see this one is a bullet list. So I just added like a bullet icon at the beginning, added address, and then the address down below, but like not bolded. And then you can see like here's the form. We added the background, and also that one has like an auto show, so it fades in really nicely. And that's basically it. Like, I also added a footer, which is like not really special. So there it is. That's exactly how I created this insane lawyer website in GoHighLevel. And if you want to save yourself the trouble and headache of building this website like this from scratch, this website here took me like over a week to build. So if you don't want to code the website, build the graphics from scratch, the design and the Figma, you can actually get this website from my store. This is a website that I sell to my clients for 2K plus, but you can get it for like a fraction of the price. So click the first link in the description. And if you now want to learn how I got my first 3 clients with like basically no money for my web design agency, click here and watch the video.